Hey, welcome back to the channel. So, in this video, we have two new development diagram. It's actually not two, but is 1.5 because we have the unicorn and also the second part of the Mobile Fighter G Gundam. And as usual, we're gonna analyze the units inside this development diagram and to tell you which one is actually worth upgrading. So let's start with the Mobile Fighter G Gundam first. In here, if you haven't watched my previous video, you can go into the top right corner of this screen. There's an exclamation mark. I'm gonna put all of the development diagram video that I've made before. It should still be relevant, but if there's ever be a new information, I'm gonna include it in this video. So here are the Shadow Gundam, and then the Master Gundam, and then the Dark Gundam. This one, the tank, is from the previous development diagram, the first part. So they are still okay. I mean, like in terms of debuff, the Shadow Gundam is actually really good in physical damage taken up debuff. So it actually fits perfectly in this Mobile Fighter G Gundam in terms that they mostly deal physical damage. But the thing is that when it comes to the most important one, like the Master Gundam in here, he deals special damage. So yeah, that's sucks a little bit. Look at this, yeah. But we have a new ultimate units coming who can increase special damage taken up to your enemy. But we're gonna go into the ultimate unit later on. For now, we will see the new ones in this SSR development diagram, the Burning Gundam. So the Burning Gundam here, this is a tank instead of an attacker or a support, which actually I already expected as much because the previous one, the Domon Kasu, nothing here. I mean, like the unit is attacker, but Domon Kasu as a pilot, if we go into the upgrade here, we have Domon Kasu SR as a tank. Look at this. So if there ever be an SP conversion for a pilot, which will come in the future, then if you do want to make use of that Burning Gundam, then this is the pilot. But we don't know whether this is going to be good or not, because the developer told us that if we ever SP convert a pilot, then they're gonna add the missing skills. Like for example, like here, the UR usually have 3 skills, and the SSR have 2 skills, and while the SR have 1 skill. And they say that if we SP convert this pilot, then they're gonna add a new skill for them to match the UR version. So we don't know what they give for Domon later on. It might be good, it might be bad, but the unit itself, the Burning Gundam, is not that special. Like in terms of the other tank units in this series, this is actually quite okay. Like look at this, it has increased maximum HP by 10% and defense by 5%. And when the enemy attacks from 4 spaces or more, reduce damage taken by 20%. This is the best part about the Burning Gundam. Like this means that no matter what kind of attack the enemy deals to you, it will all be reduced by 20% as long as they hit you from far away. And I reckon this will affect also the EX skill, because EX skill only, not EX skill, I mean EX skill. It only nullifies weapon attribute damage taken reduction, which is like beam or special or physical damage taken reduction. But this one doesn't have that weapon attribute, so it should be reduced, I think. I still haven't tested that yet because in order to test that we need to go to the PvP, and sometimes it's quite hard to test that in a PvP situation, in PvP scenario. So yeah, in terms of the terrain, it can be used in atmospheric but with penalty. So this is actually just so-so. And the weapon here, it has quite a nice weapon with 4800 power at level 1, which is like 200 lower to reach the 5000, that if you upgrade to level 5 it can reach 6000 damage. So in terms of damage, this is actually quite okay, but because this is a tank, it has low attack, you know. So even if you use like Domonkasu, you are the attacker into riding this unit, like it won't deal as much damage, but at least it can survive far longer than the other burning Gundam or shining Gundam out there. So yeah, this can actually be your option if you do want to do that, but I don't recommend doing that because in this game the material is very limited. So don't just, you know, anyhow upgrade whatever unit that comes to your mind. So that is the burning Gundam. Other than that, like look at this, he also deals special damage. So yeah, the Shadow Gundam is not gonna help him, okay, but the Urube Gundam, the one in the ultimate, will be really good pair for this guy. But that's just it, you know, like this guy has an unstoppable NH unit, so if you do get the new supporters, the Otto, then you can actually use him. But I do recommend to just use any other unit. Now going into the next new one, which is the Grandmaster Gundam. This is actually really good, like not very good, but it's actually really good. You know, ability wise, it increases maximum HP and restore on HP and EN 5% at the start of every turn. Like it's not the best, you know, like the regeneration is okay, but usually you won't even notice the difference. So yeah, just imagine that he has no ability at all. But even with no ability at all, his weapon is actually really good. Look at this. It's a Darkness Finger. It's a melee special map attack. And because this is a huge unit, 2x2, then the map attack in a straight line also becomes bigger. And it can also reduce the enemy's defense down by 10%. And at level 5, it should be around 20%. So it's actually an okay map attack, but because this is a support unit, it won't deal much damage. So what you aim is the debuff from here. But the best one about this guy is this one. It range 3 to 5. It's quite rare to have a unit with 5 range attack nowadays. And with the power 4000, which is alright as a support unit, you don't really aim for the damage from a support unit, although the damage can be really nice. But the best one is this. It gives damage taken from physical weapons up 20%, which means that at level 5, this is going to be a level 5 debuff at 30% physical weapons damage taken. So it's the same as the Shadow Gundam. So you have an option to either bring the Grandmaster Gundam or the Shadow Gundam, or maybe you can just bring both, you know, like as a physical damage taken up the buffer. The range is nice, you know, it's 5 range away. So if you go to the Shadow Gundam in here, this guy only has 4 range. Look at that. Yeah. So the Grandmaster Gundam is actually an upgrade to this Shadow Gundam. But the only problem with this guy is that it's a huge unit, so it's quite hard to control his movement. I mean, like, there are a lot of ways to block his movement using like smaller units, okay? So the text-wise, it's a Dark Gundam army, meaning that the best pilot to ride this guy is the Master Asia. But Master Asia is an attacker, so you won't get that, you know, support attack coming from this guy. So right now we don't really have a good Mobile Fighter G Gundam pilot for a Dark Gundam army, so you have no choice but to use any of the Shuffle Alliance support unit, support pilot, if you do want to aim for the support attack, like either Argo Galsky. Yeah, there's only Argo Galsky for the SSR, or you can just find on the SR version here, like Schwarzbruder. Like all of them will not get the affinity tag bonus because they are national representative. So only if you ever get the SP conversion, then you will ever make use of the SR pilot. But I totally do not recommend to SP convert any of the SR pilot from the Mobile Fighter G Gundam, unless you really love that series, okay? So that is the Grandmaster Gundam. Okay, now the best one coming into this part 2 development diagram is this guy, the Dark Gundam Final Form. Look at this. The ability of this guy is insane. It increases attack by 10%, and when HP is 75% or above, it increases the attack further by 15%, meaning that you have 25% attack increase as long as you don't get hit by your enemy. And it's very easy. You just put a lot of support defender around this guy. Okay, and it also able to restore HP and EN every turn, which is a good addition. Movement 5, so great. The Grandmaster Gundam just now had only 4 movement. Look at that. So very slow, yeah, very hard to move, and also a huge unit. And this one have a 5 movement. Okay. So the Dark Gundam, this one, the best part about this guy is actually that he becomes a small unit. Look at that. It doesn't have the big unit mechanism, so you can just freely control him anywhere. But the downside is that the map attack becomes smaller, but this is a 360 map attack, which is rare for a small unit to have. So actually, in terms of dealing damage, like this guy is really great. Like it's a replacement to a Big Sam, not actually a replacement. Like Big Sam still have a higher AoE, but this guy deal higher damage if you use a ranged pilot, which is currently we don't really have a good one, because this is also a Dark Gundam army, meaning the best pilot for this guy is Master Asia. But Master Asia is a melee pilot, so he won't be increasing the damage of the map attack. You know, instead he will increase the Dark Finger damage. Look at this, melee power 4500, lower your remaining HP, the higher damage increase. This one is still range. So if you use Master Asia, the Dark Finger is going to be your strongest weapon, but the weapon effect is quite hard to achieve. While the Mega Devil Flash, this one, the higher the remaining HP is, the greater weapon power increase. So this is supposed to be dealing higher damage, if not because our best pilot is just Master Asia for this guy. Okay, but this is the biggest winner in this second part of the Mobile Fighter G Gundam development diagram. You know, and also he deals special weapon damage. Look at that. Oh, this one is beam, this one is special, the Dark Finger. Yeah. So the Urube Gundam from the Ultimate becomes much more important. So this one is really good unit. Look at this. This guy has a 4 movement and 2 to 4 weapon. But if you upgrade this guy to Ultimate 1, then it has 5 movement and the weapon is still 2 to 4. And if you upgrade to Ultimate 2, then this guy have a 2 to 5 range. But the thing is that upgrading this guy to Ultimate 2 requires a very rare Ultimate upgrade material, which currently for me as a free-to-play players, we only have 200. I think we're gonna get a new one in the Expert Eternal road. So yeah, you do need to choose your units wisely in order to upgrade this guy. But if you only upgrade him to Ultimate 1, which I do recommend very much, because when you upgrade to Ultimate 1, the debuff, the special damage taken up debuff here becomes a level 6 debuff. So that is the most important one for a debuffer. And right now, a special weapon damage taken up debuffer is not a lot. We only have, in the UR version, is Psycho Zaku and then New Gundam. And in the Ultimate unit, we have Beta Azeru and Urube's Gundam. So only 4 choices right now. So that makes it that if you don't have the UR units, then the Urube Gundam become your best friend. So only if you have the Psycho Zaku, then you will be using that one. But among all those 4, 3 of them has the one-shot killer tag. Look at this. This is also a one-shot killer unit, meaning that all of you one-shot killer players have it really good with the special damage taken up debuffer. You have a lot of options, while other players need to, just settle with a level 5 debuffs, or try to use new Gundam, or just probably like specialized unit here and there, just bring the Uru-based Gundam. So looking at the weapon, it doesn't deal much damage. All of it deals melee damage. So actually, if you try to clear a development units only mission, then you can actually use Domon Kasu to ride this guy, or maybe use Master Asia, because a lot of pilots from the Mobile Fighter G Gundams have high melee stats. So this guy can also deal some nice damage. In terms of abilities, it all increased energy. So the abilities doesn't really help him that much. Only if you're fighting the Mobile Fighter G Gundam series, then you will get a bonus of attack and defense. But I don't think there are many players using a Mobile Fighter G Gundam series. Like probably in the next Master League, a lot of players gonna be using the God Gundam, but that's only it. That's the only thing that they bring. So that is the Uru-based Gundam. Really, really great. And I do recommend to just alt 1 this guy, because for an alt 1 material, you still have a lot of options. Like, for myself, after I upgrade the Uru-based Gundam, I still have 350, so I can still upgrade 3 more, which I can just choose freely in the future, like if they decide to give another new ultimate units. Okay, so that is the Mobile Fighter G Gundam's development diagram. Okay, so nothing really great coming from here. The Dark Gundam theoretically should be able to deal very, very high damage. The only problem is the pilot in there. Okay, now going into the Unicorn series, this one, because all of the R and the SR units are new, then usually you wanted to know like which one is actually worth upgrading. If they have a hidden good unit among the SR units, I'm going to tell you right now that there are none. The problem is that, for an SR unit, the support unit, you can just skip them entirely, because what you aim from the support unit is the debuff level, and they all never go past or higher than the level for debuffs, which makes them, undesirable compared to the SSR and especially the ultimate units. So the only thing that you should aim to find a good unit among the SR units are the attacker and the defender. But among all of them, I've looked into every single one of them, and none of them have high weapon power, which is very important to make an SR unit stand out, because SR unit have less abilities and less, skills compared to the SSR and the UR units. So what they lack in terms of skills, they cover it in terms of raw damage. So they don't have that. None of them have that. So you can just ignore all of them, the SR ones. So the important ones becomes only the SSR from here. So now we have the Unicorn Gundam and also the full armor Unicorn Gundam, and they are insanely good. Okay, so to explain why they are good, I'm gonna go to the website and I'm gonna show you how good they are. So let's take a look. This one. So we gonna find the Hainu, this one, and then we gonna find Unicorn and the full armor Unicorn. Okay, so these three are currently the top 3 best SSR tank in this game. If you ever play like as a dolphin or a free-to-play players, and even as a whale, like you might want to, sometimes, even as a whale, you might want to sometimes use them, but as a free-to-play players and a dolphin, if you don't have an MLB tank, then SP converting MLB these three SSR is a really strong tanker. In this game, they are almost as strong as an MLB UR tank. So the difference, the biggest difference among these three, why none of them are better than the other, is because they all have different tags. Look at this. The High New has a Psychomu tough as nails new type machine. The Unicorn has the Psychomu one-shot killer and new type machine, and the full armor Unicorn has the Psychomu unstoppable ace unit. So depending on your supporters, you're going to use either one of them differently. Like for example, if you use ace unit team, then obviously you have no choice than to use the full armor Unicorn Gundam. If you use the one-shot killer supporters, then you have no choice but to choose the Unicorn Gundam. While the best one is the Psychomu, because all of them are Psychomu, and if you have the new type machine supporter, then you can bring both High New and the Unicorn Gundam. Like, why need to choose? You can just bring them both. Yeah. So these three. But in terms of raw defense, if you are fighting against the Neo Zeon, then the full armor Unicorn Gundam becomes the strongest. So this is quite rare. Like an advantage ability, so far we've only seen them on the Liu Bei Unicorn and then the Qbeli, and now in here, the Neo Zeon. So except for the ultimate units, of course, all of the ultimate units have advantage against their respective series, but this is quite rare to have in the SSR unit, which makes this guy really special. And if you fight against Neo Zeon, which currently, if you go into the Master League, you can find a lot of Sazabi and Qbeli there. So you will get a bonus of attack and defense by another 15%, which is huge. But if you fight against a Qbeli, the Qbeli also have an advantage against you because you are a Psychomu. So you both gonna be stronger against each other. But the Unicorn Gundam, compared to the High New Gundam, they all have a new ability, which is the NTD. Look at this. This is a really good ability. Like, you get 3 bonuses in one. Look at that. You get a mobility, then a beam range damage taken reduction, and then a special weapon damage taken reduction. Reduce enemies awaken. When taking damage from a special weapon, reduce enemy awaken by 30%. Look at that. This is just like the Unicorn awaken, the UR in the banner right now. When the enemy attack you, it will reduce their awaken stats. Okay, so instead of just straight up reducing the damage they deal to you, which is useless against EX skill, this instead reduce the enemy's awaken stats. So the next time they attack somebody else or attack you again, they will deal less damage, as long as they use an awaken weapon. So that is really good for a tank, and High New Gundam doesn't have that. Okay, so that's High New currently in terms of raw defense is the lowest among these three. The strongest is the full armor if you fight against Neo Zeon, and then next is the Unicorn Gundam, and then after that the High New. But if you are fighting against other units like non-Neo Zeon units, then the Unicorn Gundam is a little bit slightly better. Because if you look at here, look at this, it increased defense by 10% and maximum HP by 5%. So in total, you increase stats by 15%. This one, because you are not getting this one, then you will only get maximum HP by 10%. So a little teeny bit higher than the full armor Unicorn. So yeah, that's why the biggest difference among the three of them, your decision into bringing them depends mostly with your techs and your supporters, okay? And which is good news. Like now, that means that every single text, not every single text, I mean like all the important ones, especially the limited supporters, the ace unit, the one-shot killer, and then the new type machine, they all have options to choose the best SSR tank in the game right now. Look at this. Their stats also is comparably good. Look at this. It has higher defense, while the HP, this one has higher. Now this one also have higher defense, but all of them also have 5 movement, which is the most important one for a tank to have. Okay, now looking at the terrain, they also have the same terrain, so nothing advantageous between each one of them. Now the high new and the full armor unicorn have a map attack, okay, but a map attack sometimes can just hinder you, and the full armor unicorn have the worst map attack. Look at it. It doesn't even debuffs your enemy. It just straight up only deal damage. So if you bring him into PvP and the AI decides to use a map attack, then it's a waste. Okay. It only deals damage. While you are a tank, you will not deal that much damage, and the power is also low. That means that you're gonna deal low damage. So yeah, this is actually a bad gacha if you manage to the AI choose this weapon. So the Unicorn Gundam becomes much more preferable because it won't accidentally use a map attack, unlike this one. Even though for high new, if you happen to use the map attack, it can still debuff your enemy, which is quite okay. Mobility down 25% is actually quite good, So that's the disadvantage of these two. But the Unicorn Gundam also have a disadvantage in another area, because he only has level 4 debuffs. Look at this, mobility down and attack down level 4. So in terms of a debuffer, he is not much of a debuffer, while the full armor unicorn has a level 5 attack down debuff, and also the high new has a special weapon power down by level 4. Okay, so this one, you might question, like, shouldn't it be level 5? No, for a special weapon power down, level 4 is actually already considered high. Okay, so those two are great. And also the high new uses awaken stats, while the full armor unicorn uses raid stats. So yeah, pros and cons of every single one of them, these units. So yeah, they are currently the 3 best SSR units for you to SB convert and actually use a UR pilot and get that strongest tank in the game. So yeah, continuing with the development diagram. So that's these two, depending on which one you aim for, you should MLB them as soon as possible. Now going into the Banshee, this one is attacker, the next one is a support unit. So their role is different. So in terms of attacker, he is supposed to be quite good, because the text is nice. It has a Psychomu, EFSF. Oh yeah, all of those units, the Unicorn and the High New, also has EFSF tag, which means that currently we have the best pilot in the game right now. Like in terms of a defender pilot, the best one is supposed to be EO Fleming, but in this case, because this Unicorn has the NTD, so Ride becomes the best pilot riding them right now. Because when you use Ride gets a bonus of 15%, another additional defense when riding NTD units. Look at this. NTD increased defense by another 15%. So Jonah doesn't have that. Look at this. Jonah only has defense 20% when using support defense, accuracy and evasion by 5% when riding NTD, and that's it. Reduce damage taken by 15%. While Ride have that 25%, it's already a power creep, and then this one also evasion by 10%, and another 15% defense in here, while still have reduced damage taken by 15%. So Ride riding those two unicorns becomes stronger than EO Fleming. How about that? Yeah. So that's what makes those two a really, really strong tank. Now, this one, the Banshee, you can also use any EFSF pilot riding this guy. This is supposed to be good. Like, the ability is nice, attack 10%, defense 5%, and it has the NTD again, But the problem is that his weapon, the armor bullshit, The closer you are to the enemy, the greater weapon power increases. This is a range attack. So you need to get close as if you are a melee in order to deal high damage, which sucks, you know. So yeah, it makes this unit not the best, okay. If only that weapon effect is something like, you know, higher HP increase, and then the further away you are increase, kind of like that, then this becomes great, because this attack uses raise or awaken stats. Because a lot of EFSF pilots, they all have high awaken stats, the UR ones, okay, except for Zero Armada. So these units can actually be good, you know. Like if you want to SP convert this unit, like it's not that bad. It's just that, you know, just like Nightingale, you know that he can do better because you are still not using your weapon effect to the most. But this is much easier than the Nightingale, because the Nightingale requires you to be at low HP, which is hard to control. You know, if you purposely get hit by your enemy because you are an attacker, you are very, very weak. So you probably just gonna die straight away instead of you know, surviving with very low HP. So yeah, that is this the Banshee. And the melee attack is also okay. It increases critical damage by 10%. Special weapon, this one is a beam weapon. So yeah, if not because of that, this is supposed to be a really good attacker, worthy of SP conversion. So if only if you actually struggle in a state that only you can only bring unicorn units, then yeah, try to just rely on him to deal damage for you. And if it's not enough, then maybe SP convert him. But it's back to you again. Like if you cannot clear that stage, then yeah. But as much as possible, try not to, because there are still a better unit, especially like there's something like this one, Banshee. Even though this is a support unit, like in any other way, this is a better version than that Banshee. The only problem is that because it is a support unit, it has lower attack than an actual attacker, but it has higher defense and mobility. So it's a balanced stats. So yeah, whether you want to SP convert this or not, it's up to you again, but I do not recommend to SP convert a support unit, because what you aim from a support unit is their debuff, okay? So they still give the same debuffs whether they are SP converted or not, so they already perform at their best at level 90, okay? And it's also a 5 range debuff for a defense down level 5, which is great. Defense down debuffs works for every single unit. And you also have this one, damage taken from beam weapons up 10%, which at level 5 will be a level 4 debuffs. It's gonna reduce by 20%. So we have this guy, and the ability here is also quite okay. When HP is 50% or above, increase own attack by 10%. So even though this is a support unit, it deals a little bit higher damage than other support units, okay? And the best one, again, the NTD here. Because of that awaken reduction, you know, it works against a UR unit. That's the best thing about the NTD. It really is a new type destroyer, you know? So yeah, those are the units from the Earth Federation. Now we're gonna go to the Neo Zeon, okay? In the Neo Zeon, I do want to mention the only SR unit that is worth a little bit mention in here, the Kshatriya Defender. This is a lesser version of the Queen Manta, okay? So in every single ability, this is almost the same as Queen Manta. Look at this, it even has the eye field, but it has a lesser attack and also a lesser stats, you know. So if you are looking for a Neo Zeon unit to be your tank, then the Queen Manta is still a better choice, okay? So in terms of debuff also, because this is an SR unit, it only has a level 4 debuffs at max, okay? And the tech is also only Psychomu and Tough as Nails. and it can only be piloted by Neo Zeon, and currently we only have Rakan Dakaran for a Neo Zeon tank pilot. So only if we get the update for SP conversion for pilots, then only then we can make this Neo Zeon tank a really good unit, because you can SP convert Rakan Dakaran. So going into the Kshatriya repair, this is the SSR version. Now we're talking. This is a support unit, but the best part about this guy is that it has both the EFSF and Neo Zeon tech, meaning you have a ton of options for a pilot to choose from. This is the only units right now that has 2 pilot tags, making this unit really unique. And also you can use the Mono Eye supporters like Komu, Unstoppable, and New Type Machine supporters to bring this guy. And the weapon is also quite good. Look at this, it uses Awakened stats, which a lot of EFSF pilot has high Awakened stats, with a range 5 and a damage taken from special weapons up the buffs. Although it only goes up to level 4, but it is still something, okay? So not the best, but it can be used in many situations because it is very versatile. You also have this one, damage taken from physical weapons, level 4. So yeah, in terms of your needs, then you can just use whatever you want. And it also has the eye field level 2, reduce beam range weapons damage taken by 40%. So quite strong if you bring it to a PvE stage, and you have a lot of options in terms of pilots to choose from. So really great. But again, it's a support unit. I don't really recommend SP converting them. As always, prioritize your SP conversion firstly to a tank, and then next one is to attacker. Because for a tank, when you use them to support defense and take damage from your allies, the only thing that matters is your HP, your defense, and your passive ability, whether you can take that damage or not. Your weapon doesn't matter, you will not hit back your enemy. That makes it that if you SP convert an MLB SSR unit, they will have higher stats than 2 LB UR units. Like they sometimes have the same stats. It depends on which UR units we are talking about, but they are generally have higher stats than 2 stars UR units. That makes them a really good tank even for a Dolphin, as long as you don't have an MLB UR defender unit. So that's the highest priority to SP convert. Next is the attacker. Because for an attacker, even though you will have higher attack stats compared to a 2 stars UR attacker unit, but the UR unit has an EX skill, which is absolute hit. It is unavoidable, unmissable, and it ignores enemies' weapon attributes damage reduction. So they are still, pros and cons. Sometimes you do need the UR unit, sometimes you do need the SSR unit, and the biggest advantage of the SSR unit SP converted is that you're gonna use them in the development units only mission in PvE stages. Okay, so that's why the attacker is the second priority to SP convert. That's why the support unit I don't really recommend to SP convert. Now going into here, we have the Shamblo. This is an attacker, but the best thing about this guy is that it can be used underwater. Look at that. And it is a huge unit, which is like, pros and cons. But in terms of weapon, this guy is actually really great. Text, look at this. Text, Mono Eye, Mobile Armor, Psychomu, Neo Zeon, Large Machine, Tough as Nails. Really good text. And it has a map attack and also a 5 range attack using Awaken, even though the power is low. But because this guy is one of the rare units that can be used underwater, if in the future we ever have an underwater battle, this is going to be your best option to choose for your attacker underwater. Look at this. And also the weapon effect is nice. The higher your remaining HP is, the higher the weapon damage. And the map attack is a straight line. And because this is a huge unit, the AoE becomes bigger too. So yeah, really great. And then the ability also increase attack by 10%, accuracy, evasion, and eye field, which makes him able to survive far longer against an PvE stages. So this guy is worth mentioning, but only if you ever need an underwater unit. Okay. Now going into the Neo Zeong, this is also a huge unit, like very huge. Like if you already have him and you bring him into a stage, he is almost as if he has the size of 3x2, not 2x2. So very big, but we don't have a 3x2 unit. Like it's gonna be its own category then. So yeah, it's still a 2x2 unit. And in terms of weapon, again, it has a 5 range weapon that uses awaken stats, even though the power is quite low, you know. But the weapon effect is also very easy to get. So if you actually SP convert this guy, we also have a 4700 power attack in here, but it uses range stats. So Shamblo and Haman, the current UR pilot for Neo Zeon, they don't deal high range damage compared to other range pilot, the supposedly range pilot, but the weapon effect is also really easy to use. So you have a lot of options. If in the future we ever get a range Neo Zeon pilot, okay, and the map attack is also, yeah, quite nice. It's a straight line big AoE map attack just for damage, but it uses range stats. So this guy quite okay, attack 10% when the enemy attacks with range weapon, reduce damage taken, and on accuracy and evasion by 5%. So yeah, but it can only be used on space. So only mentioning all that, but it's not worth upgrading or, you know, having him or doing anything with him. And it also requires a ton of material. So I do recommend you upgrade him last. You probably won't be using him anywhere else aside from the Unicorn Eternal Road anyway. So next, last one is the Sinanju, and this is the best one among the Neo Zeon development diagram here, because this is actually you know, another Nightingale. Okay, it's a little bit better than the Nightingale, but depending on the situation, you do want to either use the Nightingale or the Sinanju, because the problem with the Nightingale is that its weapon power, weapon effect, requires you to be at low HP, while this one requires you to be at high HP. Look at that. But the Nightingale has an attack that uses awaken stats, while this Sinanju all uses range stats, and the kick uses melee. So the Neo Zeon pilot that can pilot him, you know, Shamblo and Haman, they both have high awaken stats, cannot really maximize the damage of this weapon, okay? And it'll also have a range of 4, which is not the best. Same thing with the Nightingale, you know, that's why they are, you know, whether you want to upgrade them or not, it depends on your PvE stages. If you do need them, they are actually quite okay if you SP convert them, but still, not really the best unit to have. Like if I were to give them a score, like probably around 8.5 out of 10, you know. And the ability is also really great. Look at this, Sinanju. Attack by 10%, and when vigor is max or higher, and increase attack by another 7%, and mobility, and increase on accuracy and evasion by 5%. So yeah, as an attacker, your aim is to deal as much damage as possible to your enemy. So having 2 abilities that increase attack is actually really good. Okay, so there is all the development. Oh yeah, we also have this one. This is the best one coming into this current update, the Delta Kai, because this is the second attacker unit from the Ultimate series. So previously we only have Casval Gundam as our attacker, so you have no choice but to, whether you need Casval or not, you either upgrade him to Ultimate 1 or Ultimate 2, but he gonna help you a lot in clearing the Expert Eternal stage. But now we have another attacker, the Delta Kai. And the Delta Kai is really great. Look at this. At SSR version, it has 4 movement as usual and 4 range attack. And if you upgrade it to Ultimate 1, it has 5 movement and 5 range attack. So even at only Ultimate 1, he can actually be very useful, but he will perform the best at Ultimate 2, because as always, as an attacker or a defender, you want them to have as much stats as possible, because they make use of the attack and defense stats the most. Now looking at the ability, look at this. It increases attack by 15%. This is at Ultimate 2. And then if you fight against a Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn series, you get another bonus of attack and defense by 25%. But the most unique ability out of this guy is the Nitro. It increases your accuracy and evasion, but it also increases your awaken by 20%. I think this is not the best. This one, yeah, this is the Ultimate 2. So if you actually upgrade him to Ultimate 2, look at this, attack by 15%, attack defense by 30%, and awaken by 30%, and evasion by 10%, and accuracy. Accuracy helps you a lot in hitting your enemy, which is the biggest disadvantage of an SSR unit or Ultimate unit or any non-UR unit that you bring in PvP. Or even in PvE, like PvE, sometimes you miss a lot against your enemy. So accuracy is really needed there. But the Awaken is really great, although it's not the best, because this guy only uses Awaken stats on the Protofin funnel, the first weapon here. And it has low power, so compared to the high mega cannon, only if you use a UR pilot with very high awaken stats, then this Protofin funnel will deal higher damage than the high mega cannon only if it deals critical damage, because it has the increased critical damage in here. But when you are dealing a non-critical damage, then its power is actually comparable. Like if you use Amuro Attacker, for example, it has a high awaken stats, so this weapon power will get increased by the high awaken stats, while this one use the Amuro's range stats. So in terms of weapon power, they are almost equal, but this one has the higher remaining HP, is the greater weapon power increases. So this is still a little bit higher than this one when you use an awakened pilot. So only when this deals critical damage, then it will deal higher than this one. So yeah, it's a little bit complicated to make use of the Gundam Delta Kai. So only if you have Zero Armada, then you will be able to make the best out of this guy. Because Zero Armada is an EFSF pilot, which is this guy. Look at this. This is an EFSF unit, and who has high range stats instead of awakened stats. So when you use Zero Armada, then you will deal maximum damage on this high mega cannon at 5 range, which makes him really great unit if you upgrade him to the max. And it's actually comparable. Like, I think it's stronger than S Gundam, So you can use him in place of an S Gundam. Like I keep mentioning, the S Gundam has been the strongest SSR unit in this game. Now it has a rival. Depending on the situation, you either want to use S Gundam or you want to use the Delta Kai. Like it's easier to just upgrade the S Gundam, because SP conversion materials, as we all know, we gonna get a lot of them every week, every month. Not a lot, but you can always SP convert 1 unit every month, while the ultimate material to upgrade this to Ultimate 2 is very limited. So it's up to you, your choice. In terms of text, it's also really great. Look at this. You can use him in the UC series, the Expert Eternal number 1, and then the protagonist, I think, is on number 4, and then it's also an unstoppable. I think there's a stage of unstoppable, right? And yeah, that's it. But it has the Ace unit, which is really great. It's a limited supporter ship. So yeah, I think the cast file still can be used in. Oh yeah, and also the Unicorn. Yeah, the Unicorn Expert Eternal Road. So the cast file, I think, have more stages that you can bring him in the PvE stage, but yeah, this guy is not far behind, so he will still be a really good options if you are a newer player and you haven't upgraded your Castle Gundam. Then if you can clear a stage that can only bring Castle Gundam instead of Delta Kai already without using the Castle Gundam himself, then you might want to just upgrade this Delta Kai instead, because no matter how good a Castle Gundam is, that his range is only at 4 range. So, a lot of times I always wonder whether to upgrade Castle Gundam to Ultimate 2 or not, because it cannot be used that much in PvP. In PvP, you do require a 5 range attack, because otherwise, a lot of times, the enemy who attacks you from 5 range away, you cannot counter attack them back. That's the biggest problem for a non-5 range attacker. So yeah, this is the Delta Kai. Now, if you want another alternative to the Delta Kai, right now he is kind of like almost the best ultimate unit in this game aside from the Red Zeta, because the Red Zeta is insanely good. It's a defense down debuffer at 5 range. So if you do want an alternative to the Delta Kai, we currently have the Fierce Enemy Assault. We also have 2 new units here, the Shining Gundam Super Mode and also the Biarlan Custom 2. So the Shining Gundam Super Mode here is just an extra support unit from the Mobile Fighter G Gundam, but this is actually a really good one, because currently we only have the Shadow Gundam and the Grandmaster Gundam. So they both increase physical damage taken from your enemy. So this one is the defense down debuffer. We finally have a defense down debuffer in the Mobile Fighter G Gundam among the free units, okay? Among the free units. From the gacha, you also have another one. I think I forgot. I don't know if you do have them. But yeah, why use the paid one if you can get the free one? So yeah, you definitely gonna need this Shining Gundam as your support unit if you ever want to build a Mobile Fighter G Gundam team, or if you want to go to a Mobile Fighter G Gundam Eternal road. It also has a nice ability here. When vigor is max or higher, increase attack by 10%. So yeah, the damage wise, it's quite nice. And it also has a map attack in a straight line. Look at this. Damage taken from special weapons up 10%. This is a special weapon damage taken up debuff at level 4. And it uses melee stats. So again, if you use Domon Kasu UR, if you want to clear development units only mission, then you can put Domon Kasu UR into this Shining Gundam, which is actually a better option rather than putting Domon Kasu on the Dark Gundam or the Grandmaster Gundam, or even the Burning Gundam, because the Burning Gundam is a defender. You won't deal high damage, even though the weapon power is higher. I think you need testing whether that defender Burning Gundam with lower attack but higher weapon power will deal higher damage than this guy, Shining Gundam, with higher attack but lower weapon power on this guy. I think they will be pretty close in terms of damage. But yeah, this guy and the Burning Gundam has the Meikyo Shisui, which gonna trigger the Domon Kasu UR second ability. Yeah, it's also an unstoppable and ace unit, so you can use auto the limited supporters right now from the current banner to boost this guy. Yeah, and he will be really great. But compared to the other units, I will say that his use is only because you don't have that many options from the Mobile Fighter G Gundam series. So either use him or not. In terms of if it's only as a unit, then he is just so-so. So this one is the best one currently coming into the Fierce Enemy Assault. So right now, if you do compare all of them, the best one, the most useful one is actually the Red Gundam. This is a 5 range defense down debuffer which comes with Suji Ito, his actual pilot. that has a double support attack. So this one is still 10 out of 10, the most important one in this first enemy assault. And then we also have the Musha Gundam, okay, the next one. The Musha Gundam is really great because the Musha Gundam has also its own pilot. Look at this. That comes with double chain step. Okay, but the best part about this guy, because this is a link unit, meaning that the more copies you have for the Musha Gundam, the more pilot you have. So the thing is that if you use other units, like for example, you have Sazabi, you have Exia, you have, all of the double chain step pilot, the problem is that you only have one pilot, okay? So no matter how many Sazabis you have, you only have one Shara Snubble to do the double chain step on that Sazabi. But not this guy, because this guy comes with the pilot himself, So if you have 10 Musha Gundam, you also have 10 Musha Gundam pilot, which all of them have double chain step. How about that? So if you actually want to grind, if you don't have anything else to grind in the first enemy assault, try to get 10 Musha Gundam and MLB all of them, get them to level 90, so you can just use them to clear up very, very low level states. Like if you want to grind PvE states for to use up your AP or get the weapon upgrade material or just get the development technical journal material, etc., then just use 10 Musha Gundam. It also deals very nice damage, because this is an attacker. It deals, look at this, 4,700 power at level 1 at 2 to 4 range, but the lower your remaining HP is, the greater weapon power increase. So yeah, the weapon effect is not the best, but still, it comes with its own pilot. So yeah, really, really great. Next one is the Destiny Impulse. This guy deals more damage because it costs extra energy, like it costs double the energy to deal higher damage. Look at this. Increase own attack by 15%, increase own weapon EN consumption by 30%. So yeah, this guy deal very, very strong melee damage, but a melee unit is kind of like hard to use, like in PvP. Like the Musha Gundam, you can still use him in PvP, although it only has 4 range attack, but it's worse when you are bringing an SSR melee unit into PvP. Like, you won't be able to do anything to your enemy before you yourself die. Next one is the Overon. Okay, this one is a really good beam melee attacker. Look at this, 4,300 power, melee, and beam, critical damage by 10%. So yeah, this guy also has really good tanks. Look at this. But you need AU pilot to pilot this guy, which means that you can use Camille, you can use Asuna, but none of them has high melee stats. So yeah, the rest not really worth mentioning. Now come the Bjarlan custom too. Okay, so among these units, like now the Bjarlan custom slip in after the Red Gundam. Okay, so the Red Gundam is still on top in terms of usefulness because it is utility. His utility is just the best. Now comes the Bjarlan custom. Like this is really, really good. It is an attacker, but it is comparable to the Delta Kai. Look at this. It has 2 abilities that increase damage and it increased by a lot. Increase attack by 10%, and when HP is full, increase attack by 20%. Like the requirement is harder. Usually other units requires you to, when HP is 50% or above, then increase attack by 5. When HP is 75% or above, then increase attack by 10. Oh, no. Maybe the 5% increase by 10 and then the 75% increase by 15. By this one, because it requires you to be at full HP, it increases attack by 20%. But again, no matter what HP requirement, you will always have your unit at maximum HP as long as you support defense them. Okay, so this makes him able to have a 30% attack bonus all the time. And it also comes, because this is a fierce enemy assault, it also comes with its own modification. You have the mods that increase his attack damage by another 10%. So it's a full package here, coming from the fierce enemy assault. And it has a 5 range attack, which is perfect, with a power of 4,300, and the higher the remaining HP is, the greater weapon power increases. So yeah, really good unit, really strong. Like, compared to the S Gundam, I think it is comparable. The S Gundam is still better, when you are using an awakened pilot. The same thing with the Delta Kai. The Delta Kai, you need Zero Armada to pilot the Delta Kai because his awakened weapon is on his melee attack. But for this Bjarlan custom, he doesn't even have a weapon that uses awakened stats. So you definitely need Zero Armada to pilot this guy if you want to maximize his damage. So yeah, pros and cons among the 3 top SSR attacker in this game right now: the Bjarlan custom, the S Gundam, and the Delta Kai. They also requires different approach. Like the S Gundam requires you to be lucky with gacha, but it is really good when you are using an awakened pilot. The Delta Kai requires you to use ultimate upgrade material, which is very rare. But if you do upgrade him, he deals the highest damage when piloted by Zero Armada. Now we have the free version, which is the Bjarlan custom here. Yeah. So, and Bjarlan custom can also be used on atmospheric, which makes him really great overall, because you will be able to use him in a lot of stages. Okay. I think the Delta Kai also can be used in the atmospheric. Let me check. There is the Delta Kai. Oh no, the Delta Kai cannot be used in the atmospheric. So yeah, that's the advantage of the Bjarlan custom. Look at that. Yeah. So those are all the new units that is coming with the current update. Bjarlan custom really good. Like in terms of Musa Gundam, like I will try to get him 1 copy of this at MLB, and only then I will keep grinding the Musa Gundam, because the Musa Gundam will be needed to, having an entire lineup of Musa Gundam, while the Bjarlan custom will have a problem of not having enough pilot, Like, if you have Zero Armada, then you only have 1 Zero Armada. So just use him to pilot 1 Bjarlan custom, and that's it. It's already really good, okay? So that is that. And yeah, those are all the new units from the development diagram. Now, as a bonus, I do want to mention a little bit about the current banner, the Unicorn Gundam, because this is the only unit right now that has a level 7 debuff, but it comes from the pilot. The Banana Link here has an EX character ability that increase the decreased defense weapon effects by 5% additively, which makes him able to reduce enemies' defense by 1 level higher. But the thing is that I kind of like suspicious about the future of the units, because if you imagine, like, this game has a power creep, right? And if they power creep the debuff level, that means that at some point you gonna finally get a unit with a level 10 debuffs. And it's going to be bad, because that means that all of the level 5 debuffers will be useless if you know that you have a level 10 debuffer, So I don't think they're gonna increase the level of the debuff. Maybe in the future they're gonna do it like this, like making some of the units have a level 7 debuffs. But that's it. That's as far as they will go, most likely. Because just imagine, like, we currently already have a 40% defense down using this Banana Link and also the Unicorn Gundam. So if we reduce the enemy's defense even further than that, it's gonna break the game, because the PvE bosses, no matter how high defense they have, you need to bring this guy definitely to shred through all of those armor. And if we ever get a defense down level 10 debuff, that means that it gonna reduce the enemy's defense by 100%, meaning that you can just skip through the game mechanic, like the one that usually you need to kill certain units first, otherwise that boss has like 1 million defense. If you have a defense down 100%, it doesn't matter. Every single enemy will have 0 defense. So yeah, because I think that's what's gonna happen right now in the future. So that makes this guy, the Unicorn Gundam, become really important, because this is the only level 7 defense down debuffer right now. If there ever comes a similar unit like this one, they will come with a different debuff. Maybe a beam damage taken up debuffer level 7, maybe a physical damage taken up debuffer level 7. So they all gonna come in a different variety, or maybe they will only ever gonna do that level 7 debuff for a defense down only. So we don't know that's going to be happening in the future. But comparing with the God Gundam only excels in damage. And from my experience playing a lot of gacha games or RPG games, in terms of power creep, the easiest thing to power creep is damage. Because in the future there will always come out a unit with higher damage than your previous older unit, just like the Zeta Gundam. The fate of the Zeta Gundam is what I'm talking about. So far before God Gundam came out, the Zeta Gundam was actually the highest damage dealer in terms of UR, not actually Zeta Gundam. Like Psycho Zaku deal higher damage than the Zeta Gundam, but for so long, because Zeta Gundam came as the second banner in this game, so having that much attack for so long, like topping the rank 2 in terms of damage dealer, it's already good enough. He already lasts for so long, and now finally he gets replaced by the God Gundam. Like in terms of damage, the Liu Bei Gundam and the Shazaku still deal higher damage, but the Liu Bei Gundam have a requirement of him hitting a rival tech and also having very low HP. So God Gundam right now, aside from the Shazaku, is the highest damage dealer in the game. He is the second rank right now, after the Shazaku, I think. So yeah, I don't know, I need to actually test that, like whether Shazaku or God Gundam deals higher damage. But yeah, Zeta Gundam is one example of an attacker that get power creep just because they have high damage. That's it. So now we have the F91, but this is a non-limited unit, so you can just get him anytime. But the most important one for me to remind all of you guys is Automitas here. You all know how good Lacus supporter is, and for so long we only ever get Bright Noah for another limited supporter, but you all think that the EN restoration is bad. We all want a healing restoration, so now they give us Automitas, the Ace unit limited supporter with healing. So try not to miss this guy, okay? But still, like, if you don't think you are lucky enough, you might want to just save your diamond, because the next banner gonna be the IBO, and we all know that Barbatus Rex Lupus is going to be there. So yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.